Good morning and welcome those who are starting to hop on this morning. I guess it's not morning, it's 1 p.m., but it's Friday, so it kind of feels like it. Thank you so much for joining us for our third Marketing Fundamentals workshop. If this is your first one, my name is Madison. I'm the Director of Tourism and Events at the Kittitas County Chamber of Commerce. And we have a small business development center, which we recently launched in Cle Elum. And we were hoping to do physical workshops with some experts, but right now, of course, we are having to do it digitally, but really excited that we're still able to do it and that you guys are here. The Small Business Development Center will have one-on-one business counseling with a economic development SBDC specialist. We will have some financial advice available free for businesses in Kittitas County. And we're going to be promoting and working with a lot of partners and experts in various fields to produce workshops, which you guys are a part of virtually right now. So stay tuned for more information on when we'll physically be able to do that. But I will be recording this webinar on social media best practices with Genesis Marketing. And Mary Kay, I'll let you introduce yourself and Genesis in just a moment. But I just wanted to let you guys know that if you have any questions throughout the presentation, it'll be about 20 to 30 minutes, but you can drop them in the chat box and then we'll have a quick Q&A after. And so feel free to either leave those right when you think of them, or you can actually drop them in when we're doing the Q&A. So I think that's all we have to go over. Mary Kay, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, Madison. As Madison said, my name is Mary Kay Rep. I'm with Genesis Marketing, and I have had the phenomenal pleasure of working with Madison and Amy and the Kittitas County Chamber of Commerce to do the social media marketing, TV advertising, website design for the tourism accounts for the last 20 years. So I'm real grateful to have that opportunity and looking forward to sharing a few things with you today. The presentation that is on here, I believe, has been sent to you. If not, Madison will make sure that that gets sent out as a follow-up. So what I'm going to talk about today is going to be fairly brief and wide open to people giving me questions and being able to talk to more specifics, because I think everyone's probably extremely familiar with social media. It's impossible to be in today's world and not know what social media is. So it'd be probably the most helpful if we could talk in specifics about what you're dealing with in regards to your business and the kind of things that you're working on and what you might want to brainstorm a little bit about. The first section that I'm going to be going over today is just kind of giving you a little bit of a glimpse of who's on each platform. Facebook, as I'm sure most of you know, is the largest, most used platform for the older generation, but interestingly enough, it's second behind the usage in general behind YouTube. It still has a little bit higher female demographic, 75% to 63% male. And when I say older demographic, don't necessarily mean that the younger demographic isn't on Facebook, but the research shows that they're a little bit less likely to use it as a everyday, day in and day out medium. They're using it more to be able to interact with family. And when they're interacting with their friends, they're on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, not as likely to communicate with each other on Facebook. The one thing about Facebook that does make it really productive for using it as a business is that people are using it multiple times a day. So whether you're doing an organic post that's posting up for people or paid campaigns, you have a high likelihood of reaching them with a really low cost if it's paid. And for free, obviously, it's just the time that it either takes you to do it or that it takes you to pay an employee to put the post up for you. Instagram is a platform that is a little bit harder to manage as a business because the Instagram user is very particular and likes good photographs and likes good content. But it's an extremely highly used platform by all age demographics and something that we feel is a really important integral part of your business. but a little bit harder to use because it's not as forgiving, if you will, if you don't have good photography and good content. Twitter is something that isn't as highly used across the United States, but we have found, oddly enough, that in the Seattle area, they have a higher usage of Twitter than a lot of the other larger metropolitans. So if you're trying to reach people in the Seattle metro, Twitter is definitely a good platform to be considering using. TikTok is probably not a platform that most of you really need to be on. I'll kind of leave this information here for you to look at as you want to. And if anybody has questions, we can go into it. But we brought it into the presentation because it's a highly used, really high growing platform that is being used often by primarily the younger demographic. LinkedIn is an absolutely awesome platform if you're trying to reach business people, and specifically if you're trying to reach employees. So we've listed that further in the presentation as something that's really important to have as a platform for your company. YouTube is, again, a little bit more like Instagram in that it's not as easy of a platform to have in your portfolio because it requires video, but it's extremely highly used. And as you can see, it's the #1 as far as usage across the board for all age demographics. Snapchat, again, kind of like TikTok, not one that I'm going to touch on too much, but it's definitely reaching that younger demographic. So if your product or services reach that younger demographic, I would highly suggest finding a way to implement this into your strategy. Pinterest is definitely something that's a very particular audience, and it's, again, not as easy to manage. But if you're looking for the female audience specifically, again, they're a little bit pickier about the content that you're posting, but phenomenal way to reach that creative mindset of the female. Podcasts, again, not going to spend a whole bunch of time on that, but you can create free podcast channel for yourself. You can produce your own podcasts. If you have the capacity to do it, awesome way to promote your company and tell a really good story about what your guys are doing at your facility. Blogs, I know that's not necessarily a social media platform, but it's something that we use a lot for posting on our social media, and it's something that is great content for social media. So we listed it as something to consider because it helps your website crawl up on Google and Bing, and it's very, very helpful for content. I think in regards to what's most important for social media, I would say that your strategy and your content is probably the absolute most important. Making sure that you're writing specifically to the person who's using that platform and being very, very intentional about using language, hashtags, photos, videos, the type of things that that particular user would resonate with is going to be more helpful and actually going to get you better results. It used to be that you could just say, oh, okay, if you do 10 posts a week on Facebook, it's going to be awesome for you. Not so much anymore. You have to be extremely particular about what you're doing on any platform and be very specific about what your content is and talk in terms of relating to that audience by platform. And specifically what I mean by that is you really can't just have the same exact post that's going to be on Instagram versus Facebook versus Twitter. They can be close, but they need to be a little bit different. And specifically with Twitter, you're going to notice that they are more likely to look at blogs, videos, definitely not as high likelihood of taking a look at photography in your posts, and they're a little bit pickier in what it is that they'll stop and take a look at. One of the best things that you can do when you're taking a look at building your content is to take a look at what your competitors are doing. Take a look at what influencers, if I could talk, are doing in your industry, and pay attention to the type of things that they're saying, doing, posting, and start developing a calendar for yourself. Again, going back to, it used to be if you're on Facebook or Instagram, that's good enough. That really isn't the case anymore. There needs to be a solid strategy and a plan, even if you're doing your plan a week at a time. And kind of specifically what I guess I would say for today is, it used to be for us that we would plan the tourism stuff out 60 days, 90 days in advance. That really doesn't work right now. So if you're crunched for time and you can only plan a week at a time right now, that's actually fantastic because things change almost daily right now. And the more in the moment you can be with your posts, the more productive they're going to be for people, whether it's your ads or your posts, anything that you're doing on social media, the more right in the now that you can be, the better. In regards to determining your style, that has a lot to do with your brand. It has a lot to do with the specific message that you're trying to portray, but you want to align your brand and your message with the platform that you're on to make sure that what you're posting is something that the majority of the people that are using that platform would actually resonate with. Creating a social content calendar is helpful because it kind of helps you make sure that if you have specific things that you want to do on certain days, whether it's motivational Mondays or blogs that you put out every Friday, making sure that you have a consistent plan. It's very helpful to have a calendar. And again, kind of going back to that, what if I don't have enough time? What if I don't have a person on staff that's doing this? Even if you're only creating your social calendar 2 or 3 days at a time, it's very helpful just to put a little bit of thought and intentional practice into what it is that you're going to post so that you have a good, solid practice. Creating engagement is something that, the time that you're going to put into this, there really is no point in just putting up a post to have a post. If you're not going to create engagement, clicks, traffic into your store, interest in your brand, there really is no point in even having a social media page. And so again, the whole preparation point of things is to try to think of ways that you can get your followers to engage with you. There are quite a few ways that I've listed here. I'm not going to go into all of them. Kind of like a 30,000-foot view is trying to find ways that you can speak to all different types of personalities, whether it's running contests, whether it's taking votes, whether it's asking for people to give you answers to questions. If there's things that you can do to use emojis that might speak to that certain demographic or customize your own emoji, things that you can do that'll really help engage with people is going to make it so that your product stands out. I provided you a couple of different things that you can take a look at for best practices for engaging, as well as things that you can go to, like if you just Google the national holidays, a lot of times there's some super fun ideas that you can do to align with your company. Like for example, there's National Wine Day, there's National Taco Day, there's National just about everything day actually. So if you want to be able to have some fun with your posts, holidays are really good. Making up your own hashtags are good. Making up your own hashtags is a good trackable thing for you. You can go out and search your hashtags and see how many people are actually using them after you use them to see if that's something that seems to be working for people. Being able to give people in the now information with live videos is super awesome. Being able to go behind the scenes at your business to give people more of an in-depth look about what you're doing and how you're doing it is something that people really crave. Specifically on social media, that's something of high interest and causes high engagement. Doing contests, obviously, is something that works just about everywhere, but what we like about contests is you can gather the information to be able to communicate with them in the future, to be able to send them out offers. So you can ask for name, email, sometimes phone numbers, depending on the prizes they're willing to give it, so that you can communicate with them to sell your products in the future. I mentioned a little bit earlier when I was going over the demographics for platforms on which ones are a must. I know that time is a really big consideration for all of us. And specifically for people that are running smaller businesses, and if you don't have the capacity to have a staff person who's assigned just to doing social media, you really want to hone in on the practices and the social media platforms that work specifically for you so that you can only spend the amount of time that you've got on your hands on the best possible platforms. In our professional opinion, we think that Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are all pretty much required for businesses to be able to promote their business and engage with customers. We think those are 3 platforms that are an absolute must. like I mentioned earlier, if you're trying to reach that Seattle demographic, it really becomes a must with Twitter as well. They have the one of the highest usage rates for Twitter, really high engagement. We get a lot of results off of our Twitter campaigns and Twitter posts for the tourism. If you're trying to reach people in the Seattle metro, this also adds to the layer of what are you doing as a must. We talked just briefly about some of the other things earlier with YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, that kind of stuff. Again, those are a little bit harder platform to be able to use, but if you're trying to reach that younger demographic, they become a must. And there are all kinds of different things that you can use to make it easier to create videos, find pre-made videos, and we've listed a few of those in this proposal for you. When and where to post, again, it used to be that if you were posting, it really didn't matter if it was at 1 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night, it was still a post, it was still active. It was something that people were like, okay, they're on social media, they've got something going on. Because only a super small percentage of the people on all social medias actually see your organic posts, you want to make sure that you're paying really good attention to your engagement level for your store and for your posts. In the next few pages, we've given you some highlights on times that are researched to be the highest times to post on the different platforms. But you're going to notice with your business and with your followers and the type of posts that you're doing, what time of day seems to be the best. You can pay attention to that either by looking at it on a by post basis, or if you're using a platform like a Hootsuite, it'll give you a report and show you the highest performance times for engagement. And then moving forward, you want to pay really close attention to making sure that those are the times that you pick as you move forward. Again, we've only got so much time in the day, and specifically if you don't have anybody that you can have help you with posts, you want to use every small little tip and technique possible to make sure that you're maximizing your time and getting the most out of the energy that you're putting into your posting. We've listed just about everything here for you, but I'll just kind of blow past them because it's all written out for you. And again, I can't say enough that even though that is a research time, you want to pay really close attention to your own engagement and make sure that as you move forward in your own practice for posting, that you continue to post in the times that you're seeing highest engagement for your company. The pros and cons of using a platform process, whether you use it, post yourself inside the platform, or you use something like a Hootsuite. Mostly what makes it easier for you is you can post out further if you're using a Hootsuite, and specifically with something like Instagram, which we think is pretty much a must. With Instagram, you have to do it by hand on your phone, versus you can post it through Hootsuite and not have to do that. And that for us in particular seems to be the easiest, fastest way to move forward with posting on Instagram rather than doing it by hand on your phone each time you want to post. We've listed 4 different platforms that we suggest you take a look at. Each one of them is a little bit different, but for all intents purposes, they all do just about the same thing. We specifically use Hootsuite, but they're all really about the same. What we like about Hootsuite is they have a free platform that you can use. If you have 3 different platforms that you're using on a consistent basis, if you stick to 3, you can use their free platform and not have to charge for it. And you can post out for a month in advance with your posts. We've given you screenshots of how to set it up here. Again, I won't go over that in particular because it shows right here, as well as when you jump into the Hootsuite or any of these platforms for that matter, they're all going to give you tutorials and really easy how-to setups for posting in advance so that you don't have to take the time to do it through the platform itself. I mentioned earlier that one of the ways to be able to get engagement is using hashtags. A lot of times it's like, okay, well, how do I figure out what the hashtag is going to be? You can make up your own brand hashtags, but you can also do searching for hashtags to be able to see what are the highest used hashtags and how can I find things that will resonate with people by listing my hashtags. We've given you some websites here so you can go out and search and see by topic of what you're looking for, what are the top used hashtags, and then put that into your campaign as well as your own custom hashtags for your business. We've also given you a few tips about where to use them, how to use them, what platforms to use them on, so that you can make sure that you're using them correctly. Sometimes people that are super particular about hashtags give you a little bit of hassle, I guess, if you will, and comment on your post if you're not using them quite right. We also gave you the resources that we got all of our information from in here, so that if you want to dig into any of these websites and links further to continue to learn more about social media and the best practices, we've listed all of them here, so that way you can easily find anything that you need to. I'm obviously available at any time too if you have any further questions past today, but we feel like what we put together here is something that kind of speaks for itself, and hopefully it's helpful to you and you can help grow your social media and your business through this practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. That was awesome. I loved the charts with showing like what the best time is to post for each platform. That was really useful. And the Hootsuite demo too, especially. I know a lot of people need help planning and they hear about these calendars, but they're not really given like a recommendation from an expert. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just a couple of questions. If anyone listening live would like to leave a question, we have a few minutes. Feel free to drop it in the chat box and then I can ask Mary Kay. And yeah, I have a couple here for you just to kick it off and then we'll close. So I have a lot of small businesses say, I don't have a marketing budget to put towards advertising, and they just get really overwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about, is social media worth doing as a business if you don't have any budget at all?
Well, I think that any budget at all is kind of a term that's used often when people don't have a marketing campaign, but I think just about any business has anywhere from $10 to $100. And it is absolutely unbelievable what you can accomplish even with a $10 boost or a $15 boost or a $20 boost. And I think just about every business has the capacity to do that kind of a boost. To drill back a little bit and answer your question, is it worth my time as a business owner to have a social media platform and continue to post if I have no money at all, even if $10 is too much? It absolutely is. Where I think the concern comes into play is if you have no followers and you're organically posting and there's only a small percentage of people that are seeing your posts, that's where it looks like and feels like it's exhausting and frustrating. And as a business owner, when you're already super busy, why is this worth your time? That's where you are going to have to kind of buckle down a little bit, maybe take time at night as a business owner if you don't have anybody that you can pay to do this, and go out and follow other companies that are in the same type of industry, influencers, high profile companies that are in your area. Comment on those pages so that you can grow your followers. You can do boosted campaigns to grow your followers as well. And I would highly, highly suggest that you take a look at even seeing what a $10 boost or a $20 boost would do for you. Not only will it give you the business, but it'll grow your followers so that your organic posts are not wasted. It is a little frustrating, and I'm not going to sell you down any river that says, oh, this is going to be the best thing in the world. When you first get started and you have no followers, it's super frustrating, and you'll do your posts and you'll see no likes, and you'll put your energy and your creativity and you won't get any engagement except for maybe your husband or your daughter or your employee. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't super helpful. It takes a little bit of time, but again, being part of the network with the Kittitas County Chamber of Commerce and networking with that group of people, if you're going out and following all the people that are part of that group and engaging with the conversations on their sites, they'll in turn follow you back. And the more that you get involved with other people's pages, then you'll start getting more followers and it'll become more worth your time. And in the beginning, I would highly suggest you just spend that couple of small dollars to boost, just so that you aren't wasting your energy and frustrating yourself to post to 3 followers.
Yeah, thanks, Mary Kay. I think that even having that information, your business information, your hours online, and if you have zero budget, zero time at all, like even having that information available for those who might be looking for you is powerful.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, networking. Thanks for that little shout out, Mary Kay. Another question from Kathy. Can you explain how hashtags work? I know you kind of talked about it, but how does it work from the back end and from the business versus somebody who's looking up that hashtag?
Yep. So hashtags are something that are a trend in social media. And they're something that kind of gives personality to your post and also gives personality to the person responding or what they're interested in. So you can have fun making up hashtags like hashtag motivational Monday or hashtag taco Tuesdays kind of thing. But if you're interested, again, kind of going back to that topic where I was saying grow your followers. If you are a restaurant, for example, and you have tacos on your menu and you align with the Taco Tuesday, which is a very highly used hashtag, it will help you if you're actually putting that in your post, because it'll help you show up anytime someone searches Taco Tuesday, it's going to pull up. And you can just do literally a Google search through those links that we gave you to show top used hashtags. But by having that hashtag in your post, it helps you pull up in other places besides Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you're at. It helps throw you out onto the World Wide Web.
Yeah, and it's good as a business too to be able to look up that hashtag that you're using. You know, I run a tourism campaign and work with Mary Kay's amazing team. And if I want to look up hashtag my Ellensburg and see if others are using that hashtag that have been influenced by our campaign, I can see what they're doing in town, what they're correlating with their hashtag, you know, what their current interests are, and then that can help inspire that content that you kind of follow up with. So it's kind of good for the user and for the business too.
It's also a super affordable way to run a contest. You know, like if you
Yeah.
have a hashtag name of your business, you know, hashtag my Ellensburg, and that's how you win something, then you don't have to create a landing page or a website. You don't have to have a capacity to upload photos or videos. You can just have them share their video or photo on their page or comment and use hashtag my Ellensburg, and then you go out and search the my Ellensburg hashtags and pick your winners. So it's an affordable way to put together a contest as well as gain more exposure for yourself.
So Nicola Hola said that thanks for the information on Hootsuite. It's been on our list to research, and this is great confirmation. Yeah, I think that's a lot of small businesses. We hear about these kind of marketing buzzwords, but it's kind of one of those things we put on our list and we never really get to it because it can seem overwhelming. I think on Hootsuite for free, correct me if I'm wrong, Mary Kay, but I think you can have up to 3 accounts or 3 different
3 platforms, yeah. So again, if you're using our, you know, Steady Eddies, if you do the LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, you can, or excuse me, Facebook, you can stick them all in there. If you'd rather do Twitter over LinkedIn, you can have 3 that are in there. And again, if you're pressed for time, I know everybody would rather turn it off when they leave the business at night, but you can sit at home on your couch and probably crack out a whole month's worth of uploading posts in 2 or 3 hours on Hootsuite. And I say 2 or 3 hours only because you really want to go back to what I was talking about, being real intentional with your content and the type of post that you're doing rather than just throwing up any photo and a comment with it.
Mm-hmm. And I think you can on the free version do up to 30 days of planning
Yep.
on free
Yes.
platforms.
Yep.
So that's nice for small businesses. Usually you don't have much more than that, or you can organically post on LinkedIn or Pinterest if it doesn't fit in your 3.
It's very easy to maneuver through Hootsuite as well. And what's awesome about that is it's real easy to see what posts were working best for you, what your engagement was, what times were best. So you can really easily see some statistics that'll help you make your future posts more successful.
Great. So I think it would be cool down the road to do like a Hootsuite demo. We'll see how things kind of play out and what the interest is. We're hearing some good feedback. Yes, I want to see that. It's pretty user friendly, but it might be good to see it just done so that people can take notes.
Yep.
But in the meantime, if folks have questions on that or they need help aligning their strategy with their target audience, where can they find you and Genesis Marketing, Mary Kay?
Yeah, I was telling Madison, shame on me for not having my information on there, so I'll just say it out loud on the video. We're at Genesis Marketing, and my phone number is pretty easy. It's 509-777-1120. And our website is genesiscreatescolor.com. I know that's a little bit off from the Genesis Marketing, but there happens to be another Genesis out there in the world. And our core values are about bringing out the best colors for our customers. So website is genesiscreatescolor.com.
Beautiful. I left it in the chat box for anybody who wants to go directly there. Thank you again, Mary Kay. This is all really useful information. We've covered a lot from, community and networking to really specific tracking data through Google Analytics. And I think that this was one piece that a lot of people wanted good information on, and it was kind of missing. So thank you so much for speaking on that. If any of you want to watch these recordings or get the slide deck or view any of the old webinars that we've already done in this series, then please go to kittitasscountychamber.com. You can go down to what we do and then click on Business Development Center, and you should be able to access information about our SBDC here in Cle Elum and then the recordings as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we hope you have a great weekend, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Bye. Thanks, Mary Kay.
Bye-bye.